Hi everybody, welcome to CCDC Virtual Cherry Blossom Field Trip. Every year, the blooming of the cherry trees around the Tidal Basin in Washington DC has come to symbolize the natural beauty of our nation's capital city. Many residents and visitors come here to see the spectacle of the cherry blossom at the peak of bloom for the Cherry Blossom Festival. This year, because of COVID-19, we can enjoy the peak of bloom virtually without ever stepping foot outside your door.
Let's talk about the history of the cherry blossom tree and the Cherry Blossom Festival. Each year, the National Cherry Blossom Festival commemorates the 1912 gift of the 3,000 cherry trees from Mayor Yukio Ozaki of Tokyo to the city of Washington, D.C. The gift and annual celebration honor the lasting friendship between the United States and Japan and the continued close relationship between the two countries. It took the coordination of many to ensure the arrival of the cherry trees. A first batch of 2,000 trees arrived diseased in 1910 and had to be destroyed. This did not deter the parties, however. Between the governments of the two countries, coordination by Dr. Jokichi Takamine, a world-famous chemist and the founder of Sankyo Company, today known as Daiichi Sankyo, Dr. David Fairchild of the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Eliza Skidmore, the first female board member of the National Geographic Society, and First Lady Helen Herron Taft, more than 3,000 trees arrived in Washington in 1912. In a simple ceremony on March 27, 1912, First Lady Helen Herron Taft and Vice Countess Chinda, wife of the Japanese ambassador, planted the first 2 trees from Japan on the north bank of the Tidal Basin in West Potomac Park. Over the years, gifts have been exchanged between the two countries. In 1915, the United States government reciprocated with a gift of flowering dogwood trees to the people of Japan. In 1981, the cycle of giving came full circle. Japanese horticulturalists were given cuttings from the trees to replace some cherry trees in Japan, which had been destroyed in a flood. Since First Lady Taft's involvement, the nation's First Ladies have been proponents of the festival. Historically, many were involved in events through the National Conference of State Societies Princess Program. First Lady Mamie Eisenhower crowned Queen Janet Bailey in 1953, and in 1976, Betty Ford invited the princesses to the White House. In 1965, First Lady Bird Johnson accepted 3,800 Yoshino trees from the government of Japan and held a tree planting reenactment. All First Ladies in recent years have served as honorary chair, many participating as well. In 1999, First Lady Hillary Clinton took part in a tree planting ceremony. In 2001, First Lady Laura Bush greeted guests with remarks at the opening ceremony. Honorary Chair First Lady Michelle Obama was involved in 2012, planting a cherry tree in West Potomac Park among dignitaries and guests. Today's National Cherry Blossom Festival has grown from modest beginnings to the nation's greatest springtime celebration. School children reenacted the initial planting and other activities, holding the first festival in 1927. Civic groups helped expand the festivities in 1935. The festival expanded to 2 weeks in 1994 to accommodate a diverse schedule during the blooming period. Growing again in 2012, the 100-year anniversary of the gift was marked with a 5-week celebration. Today, the festival spans 4 weekends and welcomes more than 1.5 million people to enjoy diverse programming and the trees. Over the years, millions have participated in the annual event that heralds spring in the nation's capital.
A wonderful history that makes us appreciate all the efforts that were made to turn these cherry trees into festival to celebrate their beauty in this time of the year. In fact, this festival is not only a celebration of the beginning of springtime, but it is also an occasion that makes us realize that history is something that we all contribute to and develop. We know that much of history is about remembering and not celebrating. The history of this festival is, however, one of those histories that are meant to be remembered and celebrated. And now we are going to explore the Cherry Blossom Festival stations around the Tidal Basin.
Let's take a look at the Tidal Basin Loop Trail. This trail is an easy 2.1-mile loop that offers natural and cultural treasures. Circling the tidal basin, this trail provides views most in accordance with the tradition of hanami, or the blossom viewing. The puffy white blossoms of the Yoshino cherry trees abound, creating a cloud-like effect. There are many places to stop and look at these beautiful cultural treasures, and here we'll talk about each one. Number 1 on the list is the Japanese lantern. This over 350-year-old 10-foot-tall granite lantern was dedicated on March 30th, 1954, the 100th anniversary of Commodore Matthew Perry's opening of American trade with Japan. Its twin in Tokyo continues to honor warlord Tokugawa Iemitsu. As a gift to the United States from the governor of Tokyo, the lantern stands as a symbol of Japanese-American friendship and is lighted during the Cherry Blossom Festival. Number 2 is the 1912 plantings. Look for the bronze plaque on the rock. It is here that the first cherry trees were planted on March 27, 1912, in a very modest ceremony. First Lady Helen Herron Taft, a key figure in the acquisition of the cherry trees, planted the first, while Vice-Countess Chinda, wife of the Ambassador of Japan, planted the second. Number 3 on our stop is the Franklin Delano Roosevelt Memorial. This may be the most artistically complex of all the memorials due to the narrative use of the waterfalls. As you enjoy this unique setting for viewing the blossoms, also consider how the landscape architect, Lawrence Halprin, actually tells a story simply through the design of the water features. For more detailed information about the memorial, make sure to visit the website. Number 4 on our list is the Japanese pagoda. This granite structure, made circa 1600, was dedicated on April 18, 1958. A gift to the city of Washington from the mayor of Yokohama, Japan. In 1957, it arrived as a set of disassembled pieces packed in 5 crates and, unfortunately, devoid of any assembly instructions. Specialists from the Smithsonian Institution assembled the pagoda based upon other examples. Number 5 on our list is the Inlet Bridge. Following the disastrous 1881 flood that covered parts of the mall, the U.S. Corps of Engineers began to dredge the Potomac River in order to improve navigability and reclaim land. The silt and mud placed behind retaining walls created 723.4 acres of new land upon which many of our memorials now stand, including the Thomas Jefferson, Lincoln, and World War II memorials. The genesis of Inlet Bridge dates to 1887, when engineers began to install gates at the entrance and exit of newly formed pond. The gates would allow the pond to fill from the river at high tide and then empty through the outlet bridge into the Washington Channel at low tide. This tidal-driven action gives the pond its name, Tidal Basin. The outflow of water through the channel flushes silt from the marina located there, reducing the need for further dredging. By 1890, the reclaimed land rose above the high tide stage and the tidal basin gates were completed and tested. Number 6 on our list is the Thomas Jefferson Memorial. Started in 1938, The Thomas Jefferson Memorial was completed in 1943 during World War II. Because metals were considered critical to the war effort, the original statue was cast in plaster, then painted bronze. The current bronze statue was installed in 1947. To symbolize the war's principles, the original Declaration of Independence was displayed at the dedication ceremony, during which President Franklin D. Roosevelt spoke of Jefferson, who faced the fact that men who will not fight for liberty can lose it. The memorial provides an ideal backdrop for the blossoms, which, according to Japanese culture, are best experienced when a temple complements the scene. Conversely, the memorial makes an excellent vantage point for panoramic views. However, the two did not always peacefully coexist. Construction of the memorial required the destruction of cherry trees already existing on the site. Public outcry about the loss of cherry trees led to a protest at the groundbreaking, dubbed the Cherry Blossom Rebellion. Number 7 on our list are the crabapple trees. People often mistake these crabapple trees for cherry blossom trees. The confusion is understandable. Both are in the rose family and have similar looking flowers. Both also develop flowers before developing leaves and bloom at about the same time. Here you can compare the apple trees, which stand between the path and the road, with the cherry trees, which grow on the other side of the path, closer to the tidal basin. Number 8 is the indicator tree and the outlet bridge. This tree, called the indicator tree, is growing very close to, even within, the large holly tree. Look for the numbered post to help guide you to the correct tree. This tree is called the indicator tree because it blooms about a week earlier than most of the other cherry trees. Thus, it is an indicator that the peak blooming period is soon to occur. Since the park has been administrated by a variety of organizations throughout the years, it remains a mystery as to who planted the tree, when it was planted, and even what species of cherry tree it is. To the north, the path and road cross over the outlet bridge. This is where the tidal basin empties into the Washington Channel. See stop number 5 for more information about the tidal basin. Number 9 on our list is the Yoshino cherry trees. The Yoshino cherry is the predominant species in the park. During peak bloom, the tidal basin looks as if it's surrounded by fluffy clouds due to the profusion of the Yoshino's single white blossoms. This variety can also be found in East Potomac Park and on the Washington Monument grounds. In all, there are well over 2,500 Yoshino cherries. These trees, known as Solmei Yoshino in Japan, are hybrids of unknown origin that were first introduced in Tokyo in 1872. As a constant living reminder of Japanese-American friendship, the Yoshino cherry trees continue to amaze the thousands of people who make the pilgrimage each spring to see them. Look for the numbered signs to identify the trees. Number 10 on our list is the Floral Library. The nation's capital comes to life in the springtime, not only with the vibrant cherry blossoms, but also with countless other trees and gardens. You can find the most beautiful display of colors and shapes in this floral library, designed in 1968 by landscape architect Darwina L. Neal. The 92 planting beds were intended to be used as a tulip library, allowing visitors to view and compare a number of tulip varieties in close proximity. It also served as a demonstration garden for National Park Service employees. It is referred to as the Floral Library today because the tulips are replaced each year by annuals such as daffodils and hyacinth. The tulips are planted in November, emerging sometime in early to mid-April. This spectacular floral display is the result of Park Service personnel carefully choosing from among several hundred varieties of tulips and planting them in masses. When in bloom, look for the pamphlets that describe each color. You will be amazed. Our last stop here is number 11, the Cutts Memorial Bridge. This is one of Washington's more visited memorials, but probably one of its lesser known. The bridge honors Brigadier General Charles W. Cutts, who served as the District of Columbia's Engineer Commissioner in 1911 to 1917, 1918 to 1921, and 1941 to 1945. Cutts is remembered for writing the district's first zoning law and for his work in regulating the city's public utility companies. During his last term in office, Cutts oversaw the building of 15 bridges in the city, including the one that now bears his name. Originally known as the Independence Avenue Bridge, the District of Columbia Commissioners voted to name the span in honor of Cutts on July 17, 1953. I hope you all enjoyed taking this virtual tour of the Tidal Basin area and viewing the Cherry Blossom Festival. I hope we can all safely enjoy this same tour in person together next year.
If you're walking along the Tidal Basin enjoying the cherry trees, it is a captivating natural landscape. We can see the fish in the basin. You will also find people fishing and different animals like turtles and sometimes beavers. And here are the 5 activities that we are recommending you guys. First, the DC Monuments by Moonlight Electric Cart Tour. This activity allows us to explore the famous monuments and war memorials in the central location of Washington, D.C. by the light of night on a small group trip through the heart of the city. Hop aboard an open-air and electric vehicle. This is truly unique look at the iconic monuments of Washington, D.C. by night. The second activity, which is DC Monuments Bike Tour, covers the monuments and memorials on the National Mall and Potomac Tidal Basin. You can see the Washington Monument, Vietnam Veterans Memorial, World War II Memorial, also Lincoln Memorial, Jefferson Memorial, in addition to the new Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial, and more. This tour also gives you the chance to walk around and explore the memorials in depth. The third activity is Sightseeing Segway Tour. You can also experience the history and scale of Washington, D.C. monuments, museums, and memorials on a Segway tour with plenty of photo opportunities. Avoid long hours of walking between destinations and see more the city with a guided tour. This tour is ideal for visitors who want to get a good overview of the city in order to know where to explore in more depth later. The next activity is the dinner cruise. It is a dinner cruise in Washington, D.C. surrounded by cherry blossoms. It is sure to create an unforgettable evening. Experience dinner cruise on the Potomac River, dine the night away with friends and family, and soak in DC skyline views and renewed cherry blossoms. The last activity is DC Ghost Tour. Did you know that Washington, D.C. has a lot of ghost stories? In the historic neighborhoods, you can easily find an old house that has unexplained bumps at night and sightings of lost souls who suffered tragic ends. At each stop, you can learn the history behind the city's alleged hauntings and ghost sightings. The tour is also a great opportunity to see the nation's capital illuminated at night. This journey has come to an end. We hope that you enjoyed the breathtaking virtual cherry blossom field trip as much as we did. We've listened to the history of these cherry blossom trees, as well as the other important monuments adjacent to the Tidal Basin. When you visit this place, you will be captivated by its natural beauty, and its historical monuments will keep you intrigued for so long time. With this tour, we just managed to show you parts of this natural space. Indeed, there are lots of other things to see and to experience yourselves, something that you may want to put it on the top of your to-do list in the near future. Stay tuned for more videos and make sure that you like our video and then hit the subscribe button to receive all of our updates. If you have any question, please leave a comment here and we will answer as soon as possible. Thank you, see you soon.